My ex humiliated me in front of everyone by cheating on me with my best friend, so I built the perfect life without them, and now they both want me back. I was the quiet one in our group. Always the listener, never the star. My ex, Ryan, was the opposite. Charming, loud, the type that lit up a room just by walking in. I guess that's what drew me to him, and when we started dating, I honestly thought I was the luckiest person alive. I ignored the little red flags, the flirtations he brushed off as jokes. The way my best friend Lana always laughed too loud at his dumbest comments. How he conveniently forgot to include me in group plans sometimes. For 2 years, I lived in denial. I built my life around them. Ryan and Lana were the core of my world. I trusted them both with everything. Until the night of my birthday party. It was supposed to be small, just our closest friends. Ryan was acting off all night, distant, glued to his phone, whispering with Lana when they thought I wasn't looking. I should have known. I should have listened to my gut. But I didn't. Not until I walked in on them, in the guest bathroom, lips locked like I had never mattered. The silence that followed my gasp was deafening. They looked at me like I was the one interrupting. Ryan just said, "It's not what it looks like." Lana couldn't even meet my eyes. I left my own party in tears. Not one of our mutual friends followed me. That night broke something in me, but not in the way they probably expected. I didn't beg. I didn't scream. I disappeared. I blocked them both, packed my bags, and left town without looking back. I took the job offer I had been hesitant about in another city. I found a small, crappy apartment and cried myself to sleep for a month straight. But little by little, I started putting myself back together. I went to therapy. I cut my hair. I started lifting weights and running, letting every drop of sweat cleanse the humiliation. I enrolled in a graduate program that scared the hell out of me and crushed it. I joined a women's entrepreneur circle and pitched a business idea I had always kept hidden in my journal. That idea turned into a website, then into a platform, and eventually, a profitable company. I started gaining recognition in my industry. Interviews, podcasts, panels. I was becoming someone. But most importantly, I was becoming someone I liked. I made real friends. Friends who didn't gossip behind my back or side-eye me at parties. I went on casual dates. Nothing serious, but enough to remind myself that I was desirable. That Ryan wasn't the last man who would ever look at me like I mattered. 3 years passed like this. And then, suddenly, like clockwork, the past came knocking. Lana was first. A message on Instagram, buried in my message requests. "Hey, I know I'm the last person you want to hear from, but I just wanted to say I'm sorry. I miss our friendship. I hope you're doing well. You look amazing, by the way." I didn't respond. A week later, Ryan emailed me. Emailed. As if that would be less invasive than a text. "I saw your interview on YouTube. I'm so proud of you. I always knew you'd go far. I'm sorry for everything. If there's ever a chance for coffee, I'd love to catch up." I laughed out loud. Coffee? Really? Curious, I peeked at their social media. Ryan had lost his job during a company downsizing. Lana had posted some cryptic quotes about betrayal and forgiveness. Apparently, they didn't last long after I left. I guess their relationship wasn't as thrilling without the forbidden thrill of sneaking around. Now, they were both floating in the wreckage of what they did to me. And I had risen from it. I didn't reply to either of them. Instead, I posted a photo of myself at a charity gala. Floor-length dress, a glass of champagne, smiling next to people I would have never imagined myself standing beside 3 years ago. The caption was simple. "Some losses are the best thing that ever happened to you." They both liked the photo, and that to me said everything. I wasn't their backup plan. I wasn't their redemption arc. I was the girl they underestimated. The one who walked away without looking back and built a life so bright, it made them squint. And now they want me back. But I already wrote their names out of my story. And this time, I'm the one who walks away smiling. A week after the gala post, I got an email from my old college. They wanted me to come speak at an alumni leadership panel. The topic? Reinvention and resilience. The irony wasn't lost on me. The event was hosted in my old city. The one I had left behind like a graveyard of the person I used to be. I almost declined. But then I remembered who I was now, and who I no longer was. I said yes. The day of the event, I walked into the university's auditorium in a fitted blazer, wide-legged slacks, and heels that made me nearly 6 feet tall. Heads turned. The girl who used to hide in the back of classrooms was now on stage, mic in hand, telling a packed room how she built her company from nothing but spite, grit, and a journal full of late-night ideas. I didn't name names. I didn't need to. But when I talked about betrayal as a catalyst for self-discovery, I saw the knowing glances. The few people who remembered the scandal, the party, the whispers, they knew. After the panel, I stayed behind to mingle. A few professors congratulated me. Some younger students asked for advice. It was warm, empowering. Then I heard that voice. "You look Incredible. I turned. Ryan. He looked older. Not in a bad way, just like someone who'd been through things he didn't talk about. The kind of aging that came from consequences, not time. He was alone. No Lana in sight. I didn't know you were speaking here, he said. I arched a brow. You came to this event randomly? He smiled sheepishly. Okay, no. I saw the flyer online. Figured maybe it was time. I said nothing. I know you don't owe me anything, he continued. But if you're willing, I'd really like to talk. Just you and me. No expectations, no agenda. I stared at him. And maybe there was a sliver of curiosity left. Not about getting back together, God no, but about what he would say when he had no cards left to play. So I nodded. 15 minutes. Coffee shop across the street. The coffee shop was quiet. I sat across from Ryan, watching as he stirred sugar into a cup he hadn't touched. He looked nervous. Good. I don't expect forgiveness, he started. Great, I cut in. Let's skip the guilt preamble. He blinked. You've changed. I evolved, I corrected. There's a difference. He gave a dry chuckle. Yeah, you're sharper now. No, I was always sharp. You just preferred me dull. That shut him up. He rubbed his hands together, finally looking up. I messed up. I know that sounds hollow after all this time, but I've spent 3 years thinking about what I did, what I let go. I tilted my head. You didn't let me go. You threw me away. His throat bobbed. And now? I asked. You see me doing well and what? Regret kicks in? He hesitated. At first, yeah, but it's more than that. I was stupid, and Lana, we didn't work. We were both just toxic. And yet you chose her. I thought it would be exciting, new, but it burned out fast. And by then you were gone. You didn't even look back. I had no reason to, I said, cool and calm. You humiliated me. Lana betrayed me. Our entire circle acted like I was overreacting. What was I supposed to do? Stick around and smile through it? No, he admitted. You did the right thing. You became something unreal. I saw your Forbes article, your TEDx talk. You're everywhere. I became me, I said simply, without the dead weight. That hit him. Hard. I don't expect a second chance, he said. I just wanted to tell you that I never stopped thinking about you, about us. I leaned forward. There is no us, Ryan. That ended the day you looked at me like a stranger in my own bathroom. He shut his eyes, pained. And just so we're clear, I added, this isn't a redemption arc for you. You don't get a pat on the back for showing up now. The credits already rolled on your part in my life. He nodded slowly. I deserve that. I stood, gathering my bag. I hope you find peace, I said. But don't look for it in my story. You're not part of it anymore. And with that, I walked away. Back in my hotel that night, I ordered room service and sat on the balcony, watching the lights of the city shimmer like gold dust. My phone buzzed. A new message. Lana. I heard you were in town. Just wanted to say congrats. No hard feelings, right? I stared at the screen for a moment. Then typed. There are no feelings at all. Then I blocked her. For the last time. The next morning, I boarded my flight back home. As the plane took off, I looked out the window, watching the city fade below me. I thought about who I used to be, the quiet girl who let people walk over her because she thought love meant shrinking. Then I thought about the woman I'd become, bold, boundaried, unapologetic. Somewhere down there, Ryan and Lana were still spinning in their own stories, still searching for someone to forgive them, to fix them, to make them feel better. But me? I had everything I needed. And this time, I didn't just walk away smiling. I flew. Back home, everything felt brighter. Maybe it was the fact that I had finally spoken my piece. Maybe it was how I had faced the ghosts of my past and watched them shrink into dust. Or maybe it was just the quiet joy of waking up in a life I had built with my own hands, every brick laid with intention, every wall fortified with self-respect. My apartment overlooked the skyline now. Not the cramped place I had moved into 3 years ago, but a high-rise with floor-to-ceiling windows, hardwood floors, and a walk-in closet that felt like a personal museum of healing. My name was now on a list of 30 under 30 innovators. My startup had secured its second round of funding. I had more meetings with VCs and press than I had time for, but every time I walked into a boardroom or logged into a Zoom panel, I did it knowing I had made it, without stepping on anyone to get there. And then there was Levi. He was unexpected. I met him at an investors event a few months before the panel at my college. He wasn't flashy. He didn't talk like he had something to prove. He listened. He remembered small things, like how I preferred black coffee, or that I always got nervous before big speeches and needed 5 minutes of silence before going on stage. We weren't serious at first, but he never tried to rush me, never tried to own me. He just showed up consistently, kindly, quietly. And when I told him about Ryan and Lana just once over a glass of wine, he didn't offer pity. He didn't say, "They didn't deserve you," or any of the usual platitudes. He just said, "Of course they lost you." And I think that's when I started falling. 3 weeks after the alumni event, I got an invitation. Angela and Deshawn were hosting a post-wedding brunch, just close friends, a little reunion, and Ryan and Lana would be there. I didn't even flinch when I saw their names on the guest list. The version of me from 3 years ago would have felt her stomach drop. But the woman reading it now just closed the email and smiled. I was going. But I wasn't going alone. The brunch was held on a rooftop terrace downtown, complete with white umbrellas and sparkling mimosas. The place looked expensive, but tasteful, the kind of venue that said, "We're grown now." Levi looked devastatingly good in a navy suit and no tie. He kissed the back of my hand before we stepped out of the car, like he always did. When we walked in, heads turned. I didn't need a grand entrance. I just was the entrance. Angela spotted me first and rushed over, squealing with joy. "You came!" "I wouldn't miss it," I said with a smile. We exchanged hugs and she leaned in. "Also, just a heads up, Ryan and Lana are already here." I nodded. I figured. She glanced at Levi. "And this?" "This is Levi," I said calmly, lacing my fingers through his. "My partner." Angela blinked. "Wow, he's hot." Levi grinned. "I like her already." We mingled, laughed, took photos. It was nice. Surprisingly normal. And then, like a bad smell carried on a breeze, Ryan and Lana drifted into our circle. Lana looked like she hadn't slept well in days. She was thin, too thin, her dress hanging loose on her frame. Ryan's eyes flicked to Levi almost immediately, calculating, comparing. I saw the moment he realized he lost the game he didn't know he was still playing. "Hi," Lana said, voice shaky. "It's good to see you again." "Is it?" I asked pleasantly. Ryan cleared his throat. "So, you two are together," Levi said, slipping his hand into mine. "And very happy." I didn't need to say anything. Levi's presence said it all. "That's great," Lana muttered. "You look really different." "Confidence will do that to a woman," I replied smoothly. Ryan tried to chuckle. "I guess we all change." "No," I said, tilting my head. "Some of us grow, some of us just decay." He froze. Before the silence could thicken, Levi leaned in and whispered in my ear, "Want to get out of here?" I turned to him, smiled, and kissed his cheek. In a minute. Then I faced them again. The two people who once held my heart in their hands and crushed it without a second thought. "Do you want to know the hardest part?" I asked softly. They both looked up. "It wasn't the betrayal," I continued. "It wasn't the lies. It wasn't even the humiliation. It was realizing that I had poured my soul into two people who didn't even like themselves. That I broke myself trying to hold together a world that only benefited you." They didn't respond. Couldn't. But I'm done grieving. I'm done bleeding over people who wouldn't have even handed me a bandage. I took Levi's hand. "I hope you heal. Truly. But don't ever confuse my silence with forgiveness. I'm not angry anymore. I just don't care." And with that, I walked away. Again. But this time, I wasn't leaving a party in tears. This time, I left holding the hand of a man who respected me. With a life so rich in meaning and power, the people who once broke me had to squint just to see me. I didn't win because I got hotter or richer or more successful. I won because I stopped needing their apology. Because I gave myself closure. And nothing is more powerful than that.